boys. Mount up.
All right, let's do this. There we go. Oh, no. Oh!
Check for pulse.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, bro. Yes.
Opposite 3-whip to table. Perfect landing. Come on! Oh, wow! Welcome, race fans. Thanks for tuning in to day 4 of broadcasted competition from here in Innsbruck, Austria. The first stop of the 2022 Crankworx World Tour, and what a world tour it is shaping up to be. We're kicking things off here in beautiful Innsbruck, Austria, and then we're going to roll things over to Whistler. We're going to roll things over into Cairns, Australia for the first time ever, and then we'll finish up the season in Rotorua, New Zealand. Look at the mountains right here, 87° Fahrenheit. Beautiful day for downhill racing. It's a bit windy, so it's a good thing we're not doing slopestyle today. Today is all about downhill racing in the woods, protected. Wind doesn't matter. Downhillers will race no matter what the conditions are. You know a thing or two about that. I'm your host, Cam McCall. This is Andrew Needling. We're going to be breaking down all the fine details of today's racing action for you. Welcome, Andrew.
Well, thanks for having me. What a week it's been. I don't know, what's your highlight so far?
My highlight is slopestyle yesterday. I'm still like settling down from it. I was screaming my head off. Hopefully that was okay for those of you at home. It was just a great show. It pushed the limits of the sport. And we woke up this morning realizing we have another broadcast. So the action isn't over. Downhill racing today. Who doesn't love downhill racing? It's classic. It's timeless. There's never going to be any disputes over judges' favoritism because the clock says it all. The clock never lies.
No, it doesn't. It's obviously one of my favorite events, but I think my favorite thing about the week has been the fans. They are back. They've been coming out in their thousands. The vibe here has just been incredible, and I think, you know, last but not least, we've got a downhill race, and it's going to get exciting.
So in the spirit of the whip-off, which started in Whistler kind of as an unofficial jam session show, we had something that just happened authentically and organically last year called the scrub-off. There's this spine ramp in the middle of the speed and style course. Impromptu jam session started last year after slopestyle, and that's how traditions begin. So we're doing it again for the second year in a row here. We're looking at some highlights from the action last night. It's a train wreck. You know, you're going to sit there and you're going to watch it because you can't help not. So a lot of great scrubbing, a lot of crazy tricks, but some mega wads as well, huh, Andrew?
Yeah, it's an absolute train wreck waiting to happen, but the crowds loved it because they weren't done after slopestyle. So we ran the scrub off straight off the slopestyle before the guys got ready for the podium. And it was action-packed. A few guys, you know, didn't really abide by the rules doing flips and 360s. And we had some incredible scrubs. There you have one, just losing the back wheel off the lip. Yeah, it's all about the vibe and the fun here at Crankworx, isn't it?
We kind of check all the boxes. We have the super high-level competitions where we have the world's best out here competing against each other. We have just the impromptu events just for fun like that, but also they're doing it right. Sustainability is a big focus, so check out what Crankworx is doing along with Innsbruck in order to make this impact of this event as small as possible.
Since years, we've been trying to reduce waste to the max. We encourage all our festival visitors to help us sort and recycle all materials into the right places. Our little impact in helping reduce and recycle. 60% of our shuttle capacity is now run with electric cars. Fleet of e-mountain bikes for our operational team. Drinking fountains set up all around the festival. We encourage people to bring their own water bottles. It's great to see more and more of our partners getting involved in this area. We also get pushed by some of them. With Toyota, for instance, their real mission is to seek all of their products with a long life. They've got their own repair service. Even if you've got a little part missing from your backpack or it might have broken, you can send it in and the repair service will be at your service to help extend the lifetime of their product. Only few companies really look into these kind of details, and yeah, we were inspired by that, and we like working together with them.
So we have the full spectrum of activities and events on hand here at Crankworx World Tour, but at this first stop of the 2022 version, we've had the entire spectrum of weather conditions, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. You were speaking about 87 degrees Fahrenheit. I just didn't understand that. We are in Europe. I think we've got to use the degrees Celsius
What is that?
I'm
It's
used
hot.
to.
Let's do it in letters, H-O-T.
Yeah, super hot. We've had a little bit of rain early in the week. We've had wind, but we have had mostly heat, which is great. It is just awesome for the riders, and luckily the wind stayed away yesterday, as you said, because that wouldn't help the slopestylers. But you know, the downhill is mostly in the trees, and it's something that doesn't really affect them much.
We got lucky with the conditions. Slalom was the day that it was rainy. It made slalom better. Calm day yesterday for slopestyle. And today we're going to take a look at our course right now, which is in the woods, making it the fact that it's windy today and we're doing downhill. It doesn't really matter. I know most of you viewers out there are riders yourselves, so I'm sure what you're seeing on your screen right now is a familiar sight. You probably have the Trailforks app downloaded onto your phone, and you're speaking our language right now. As you see, we're racing at Bike Park Innsbruck. A section of the race trail is actually called the Straight One, Black Diamond Trail. A lot of variety on the racetrack here today, Andrew. We're getting some pictures on screen right now of the track we'll be racing.
That we do. There are obviously a few variations off that trail, but you can come here and ride a lot of this downhill track, say away from Crankworx, which is great. It's a downhill, so it is pretty fitting that they call it the straight line, because there is a lot of straights that you've got to carry speed on. That's going to be the key to today's race.
You know, because you rode the course earlier, but right now we're going to go on board for our course preview with Finn Isles and Tracy Hanna.
Dropping in, following Tracy Hanna down the Crankworx DA track here in Innsbruck. This section is a little bit different to last year actually, but still quite fast and a good step up. Let's get a manual. A little drop here. A little bit scared. There's a drone following me coming down into this fast 180 corner. This section is really crucial because you really got to be carrying speed all the way down here. And then this next section comes onto the flats. And once you're on the flats here, you gotta be tucking, pumping, pedaling, because this is probably where the race will be won or lost. And then here you got some tight corners, so you have to be really smart with your braking. And then we come out into the very final section here.
Pretty cool to hear how calm Finn is while he's riding this downhill course and just so mellow explaining what he's doing. But to me, the big takeaway from watching that as well was like, I'm excited to see Tracy back on course racing at Crankworx.
I think that's a big story, and I've been speaking to her actually the weeks leading up to it, and she's only done one international race since last year here at Innsbruck, where she crashed and destroyed her ACL. So it's a bit of redemption for her, and she qualified in fastest position by 4 seconds.
I mean, let's
So
talk
it
about
could be
that.
quite the story come later in the end of the broadcast.
And
here.
who's in second position?
Well, Valley Hall.
Come on.
So, you know,
Isn't that cool?
World Cup overall winner. She's going for the three-peat here. So could it be like almost redemption for Tracy Hanna, but she's got to get ahead of Valley Hall. So it's probably the hardest competitor to do that here in, you know, Austria.
Yeah,
Where Valley's from.
home territory. I know, we're pretty stoked for Tracy Hanna. So that's who is going to be the last two riders down the hill in our women's category. This is a look at who we will see coming up shortly.
Yeah, it is honestly going to be a little bit different for some of the viewers. You might not know all these names. There's some juniors that are winning World Cups that are entered in the elite category, so that's exciting for them and us. So can some of these maybe lesser known riders make a big name for themselves at Crankworx, which has been something that Crankworx does? They really are able to launch people's careers.
It's a big opportunity if you think about it, right? Like, how often are you able to just tee up against Valley Hall and Tracy Hanna in a legitimate downhill race course?
Yeah, and get on the broadcast as well, which is great for them, great for some of their sponsors, and try to attract new ones as well.
So we'll be looking for some new young talent to rise to the surface out here during our downhill race. But now, for a familiar name and a familiar face on the Crankworx World Tour is currently sitting in the hot seat with a time of 3:14.09. We're talking about Via Verbeek, the reigning queen of Crankworx.
Yeah, Cam, but I think a bigger story is we had a World Cup winner, Nina Hoffman, that took round 2 in Fort William. She had a flat in seeding, so she dropped before the broadcast. Now the run was looking really good. She was up to 10 seconds faster, and this is where it all went wrong. So she actually went outside the course. She was on the right side of that post, and that is a DQ. Her time, though, would have been a 3:05. She lost a little bit of time here. So it actually wasn't as fast as Tracy Hanna's qualifying time. So that shows you Tracy Hanna's pace here.
It's amazing. Tracy Hanna retiring from World Cup racing. She's now a part of the broadcast team. Of course, battling through that injury that she sustained here in Innsbruck last year. To see her come back and be so fast. Two pieces of examples that she's running at a fast pace. The fact she's ahead of Valley in qualifying, and the fact that even Nina didn't lose that much time in that mistake, and Tracy was still faster in qualifying. So on to racing right now. Out of Canada, we're going to kick things off with Rachel Pajot.
She's been doing really well in the North American events. She does EWS as well as downhill. Now, the airlines have apparently lost both her race bikes when she came on this Europe trip, so she scrounged together bikes. I saw it at the EWS, she was borrowing bikes, and in downhill, so hopefully she's getting more familiar with that bike under her today.
Who has she been borrowing bikes from?
No, I don't know. The industry is so good. We've got some pretty cool stories from people just helping out later in the broadcast. Parton from the Great Britain had to borrow Reese Wilson's spare downhill frame that didn't even fit her. So, you know, the industry does come together with things like this.
That's so rad. I imagine, like, if she's not just borrowing one bike for the full trip, she's switching back and forth. It's going to take a while to get used to each new bike.
So 3.4 back at that first split that we see. So losing quite a bit of time there to Via, a queen of Crankworx and no stranger to the downhill podium. So Via Verbeek is also nursing an ACL injury. So that's quite interesting and almost ironic that the leader did her ACL here in Innsbruck, and Via has come back to competition, but also with a blown ACL.
It's so in right now.
I don't think I want to be in at all.
It's a club I don't want to be a member of.
No.
For sure.
Have you ever been a member of it?
No, MCL, thankfully, not ACL. It's not one you want to do, but what a champ, Via. I mean, she did it at Red Bull Formation. She's been getting really into free ride, and she got caught by wind on a hip. The fact that that was only, I don't know, a couple months ago, and she's already back competing here. We've seen her throughout the week. Right now, Rachel Pajot trying to beat the time of Via Verbeek.
So losing a further 2 seconds here at the next split. So this section of the track is all about carrying speed. Getting your braking done nice and early and see how much speed you can carry out of these turns. They are a little bit flatter than higher up on the course. This is where fatigue starts catching up with you, and that's maybe what happened to Nina, just, you know, losing a bit of concentration there right at the end of the run within sight of the finish. So that would be a bummer for Nina.
It made me think, when we saw that, it made me think of Minar in Leogang. Just the veteran mindset. As soon as he went outside of that pole, he ripped right back around trying to avoid the DQ. Unfortunately, I think Nina didn't realize she went around the pole. 10 seconds back for Pajot, congratulating her fellow countrywoman there, Via Verbeek, the current leader. As we drop our next rider from Denmark, Jonah Johnson.
Your national enduro and downhill champion. We story. She's been sharing her fight against cancer and beating that. I saw a lot of the comments from fellow fans thanking her for, you know, being so open about such an emotional roller coaster that she's been on. And here she is competing at Crankworx Innsbruck. Wow, going flat there off that drop. So what will the split time tell us? That's one of the steeper, more technical, rocky sections. Then it's onto this boardwalk section where Finn said it is a crucial place that you can make up a lot of time if you're off the brakes. Wow, she was up at split one, but lost 3 seconds to Via in that middle sector of the track.
So Jonah Johnson 3 seconds behind the current lead time held by Via Verbeek.
So Jonah coming into the last section of this track. So after this fire road, you can catch your breath here a little bit, relax a little bit, and then there's a tough left-hand turn, super slippery.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask you about
as
that
we
corner.
said that.
We're talking off-camber, gravel. Definitely making sure that she kept it upright on there, and she's pulled it in a little bit.
Yeah, she's pulled a bit of time back on that boardwalk section. Via was extremely quick here on the last section of this track. Yeah, that is probably the last place you want to try turn a mountain bike, is on a gravel road with loose gravel, because you don't know who's gone before you and what they've done and maybe shifted some gravel into the rider's line.
You have a picture in your mind about what it looked like when you went through the last time, but a lot has taken place since your last practice run. There's this section where we saw Nina Hoffman miss a pole. Smooth through there.
So can Johnson out of Denmark pull back any time on our current leader, Verbeek? Looks like she's lost a bit of time on that last sector. Wow, Via has had an incredibly fast last sector, so that's something to note later on in the broadcast when Tracy and them drop in.
How would you categorize that last section? Would you say that's more of a fitness section?
Yeah, I think technique as well. Like I said, if you're really good and you get your braking done well and you don't touch brakes in a turn, you can carry a lot of speed on those flat turns. But fitness definitely would help.
Off to a strong start, the Australian racer here. Good start to this run. What do you think about the drone pilot?
I mean,
skill.
I don't know about you, but that could be distracting. You can hear it. Finn spoke about it in the course preview. I don't think I would want that thing near me.
You should call Bernard, see what he thinks about it.
Yeah, he's been pretty vocal, but your national champion, Ellie Smith, has not been able to race for the last 2 years, clearly due to COVID and all those restrictions. So this is awesome to see her on the broadcast here. And look, she's up 1.4 up.
All right.
This is an awesome time. So can she keep it going here? Sector 3 of the course here, the boardwalk section. Got to stay off the brakes. Ellie, see how much momentum you can keep here.
Ahead at the split. Via Verbeek in the hot seat, but for how long? Oh no!
Commentators curse. Wow.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
We might have to just be silent for some of these riders. She was on a storming run. That's unfortunate for her. Great to see that she was up at those splits, considering she hasn't raced much internationally for the last 2 years. The Australian national champion, Ellie Smith, pushing a little bit hard, colliding with a tree there.
If we didn't have a visual of that, we'd be wondering, why in the world did she lose so much time? We have an answer to that question. Via Verbeek looking safe, dodging a bullet here in Ellie Smith. Tree versus bike, tree usually wins.
Yeah, they say they're 90% air. I'm not sure about that scientific fact. Qualifying in 9th for her, I think with that run and how she was at the split, this could have been potentially a top 5 run that she had there. So that's unfortunate for her. She'll have to go back to the drawing board and try keep it clean for the next race. So Ellie Smith, your Australian national champion, coming into the finish area here in Innsbruck after 2 years away from international racing.
Ellie Smith through the line, 9.3 back, slotting her into 4th place. Via Verbeek holds down the fort in that hot seat. And we got to talk about the underlying story here with Via Verbeek. Obviously wanting to finish as high as possible in this race because racers care about every race on their own individually. But the big picture for Via is she's trying to defend that Queen of Crankworx title that she earned in 2021. So Ramona Schmidt on course.
Awesome visuals here following the Swiss rider. And I can tell you, Cam, I don't think fitness is going to be any issue for this rider out of Switzerland. In 2020, she was still racing World Cup cross country, if you can believe that, and has switched her attention to DH.
Oh, loose on those roots.
Yeah, that's losing a bit of momentum into this fast, flat section here.
What kind of fork is she running?
Cam, that's an upside down one. I can't tell you who's making that, but that's back in the day, you know, when Greg was on Honda, they had upside down forks. The brands have gone away from it since then, though. Those 3 seconds back. The former XC racer, I think this is awesome. So switching her attention to downhill, coming up at 6th place in the IXS Cup in Winterberg, where Tracy Hanna got back in the racing circle and took the win there.
I wonder who's making an inverted fork these days. I haven't seen one of those since, what, the Dorado? I guess DVO might be making an inverted fork. But no guards on the stanchions.
Yeah, one of the negatives is if that thing leaks any oil, it is straight on the front disc brake, and that was one of the negatives. Well, pulling back some time there. Now note that split, she's 2.3 back, but I have a sneaky feeling Via has an incredibly fast sector here at the bottom and will put some more time into the Swiss rider. So aboard that transition bike, Ramona coming to the end of her run here. Can she sneak any time back with that fitness background that she has? Smooth around that last left-hander. This is where Nina came unstuck.
The technical skill for a rider who 2 years ago was racing cross-country is impressive here. Switzerland's Ramona Schmidt through the line. Where will she sit in the leaderboard? Good enough for third place so far, 6.9 seconds back behind Via Verbeek.
Yeah, losing another 4 seconds in the last 50 seconds of track. I mean, that is something. So Via had a storming last sector.
Listen to her breathing. She left it all out there.
And she thought cross-country was strenuous. Huh?
Yeah, right. Credit to the downhillers. All right, who we got next here?
Well, this is an exciting prospect. Jenna Hastings. Look at her age, 18. She's still in the junior category, coming off a second in Leogang. But this is more emotional to her. Was the win she took down in Rotorua last year, Cam.
A lot of people talking about Jenna Hastings bursting onto the scene. Final stop of the 2021 Crankworx season. The youngster out of New Zealand, beating some big names and showing she has what it takes to follow this tour around the world. Great to see her kicking off the 2022 season here in Innsbruck. And something tells me this is one of those faces we're gonna see around for a while.
Yeah, can she launch her career through the Crankworx? Look at that, she doesn't even believe it. The junior rider taking the elite win in Rotorua.
So all eyes on Jenna Hastings right now as she takes to this Crankworx Innsbruck downhill course. Will she continue this upward trajectory? Everybody's talking about her.
So this is all about getting your braking done nice and early, sticking on some of those insides to carry maximum momentum. There are a lot of straights on this track. So if you mess a turn up that leads into a long section, you can lose so much time compared to another downhill track. What will the split time tell us? Jenna Hastings, we've seen her in a few different disciplines here at Crankworx. Already a winner of a Crankworx Elite downhill. Wow, she is up, 0.5 up. Onto the boardwalk section. Can she carry this pace? Hard on the pedals.
So Via Verbeek finished 5th, the Rotorua downhill, finishing up the 2021 season. Jenna Hastings won that race. So she has the pace here, and she's on point to knock Via Verbeek out of the hot seat. She just needs consistency for the rest of this run.
Yeah, aboard that Pivot Factory Racing machine. Bernard Kerr, who isn't here this week, he's a favorite of Crankworx. He sent some of his riders here. Some of them are at the EWS. So Jenna Hastings, can she keep this pace to the finish? She's made more time. 2.6 up on Via. Now, this is where she's got to keep it going because Via was incredibly quick.
Look at Via. She's like, all right, well played, nice shot. Oh!
Another commentator's curse. We're going to have to keep quiet.
I'm muting my microphone.
A mistake
I'm
from
sorry,
Jenna.
That's me. I'm sorry.
Disappointment for Jenna. She was 2.6 up. Came unstuck there off one of the boardwalks.
Come on.
There's something else that happened that we don't know about. Wow, she has really packed it in here. No, that is not great to see. Let's have a look. Ah!
She got compressed.
Super bottomed out and lost the foot.
Well, I'm curious. You know, obviously you make a mistake and you keep charging. Something else must be going on.
Yeah, she might have really jammed her foot.
Yeah.
She does seem in a lot of pain.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, we hope to see her back soon. We'll probably check in with her later for an update. But Michaela Parton on course right now. She was 6th here 2 years ago.
Nice inside line there for Michaela. Now she will be loving these conditions considering she spent last week in the rain in Leogang. Even though she's used to it from Fort William in Scotland, she actually broke her bike on that huge step down in Leogang. Had to borrow Reese Wilson's bike, which is definitely not her size, or at least his frame, for one day. And then the sponsors rallied and got her another bike just in time for the final. So she's 2 seconds back. Wow, so Jenna Hastings was on a flyer there until that mistake. Just bottoming out in one of those bomb holes off the bridge. One of her standout results for Parton was at the 2020 World Champs. She managed a 5th position in Leogang. So she definitely loves it when it's rainy, when it's slippery. How can she do in these dry conditions?
A different kind of slippery.
Still slippery,
Yeah,
as
as
you
she
can
comes
see.
into the gravel
Yeah.
off-camber left-hander coming up here shortly. Handles that well. Good exit speed.
Great exit speed, Cam. You're totally right. She was able to brake early and then make sure she pedaled out of that. I think that's a great technique when it comes to gravel. You'd rather brake too much, get to there cleanly, and get on the pedals afterwards.
Bottom left there, Jenna Hastings.
So through that bomb hole, that unstuck Jenna, that is really unfortunate for her. That looked painful as well. I think she stomped her foot or her leg into the seat. So Parton's been doing all sorts of racing. She even did a EWS. She said, wow, that was one of the hardest things she's done. They really pushed them on the EWS circuit on those e-bikes. So Michaela Parton from Fort William coming into the finish here in Innsbruck. What will the time tell us?
Michaela Parton through the line, just 2.1 back. Good enough for 2nd place behind Via Verbeek. Good showing for Michaela Parton with 5 riders left to drop. Our pro women's field here at the Deuter Downhill Innsbruck, presented by Raiffeisen Club. Back up to the top. Anna Newkirk on course.
So coming off a 2nd in Winterberg, just behind Tracy Hanna, that'll help her confidence. So the American riding has been putting a lot of time into these European races, which is great. Getting experience on different style of track to what you find in America.
She's looking quick. I can't wait to see this first split. Anna Newkirk out of the United States of America, looking on point.
Clean through there, carrying some decent space onto the boardwalk section.
I think it's going to be close.
So we did see her, and she's up, 1.8 up. This is a great time for her. Qualifying in the 5th position. If she can go into the hot seat, at least she knows she's got a top 5, but maybe she can sneak into the top 3 here. We already saw a 3rd place from her in slalom. So 1 bronze medal already this week. Anna Newkirk from the United States storming down this Innsbruck downhill track.
All right, loose gravel right-hander, loose gravel left-hander. Such a key section here, maintaining speed for this final section. Handling it well.
She's also had a bronze medal at the Junior World Champs. So maybe something she can keep up today. 2.3 up. She is extending her lead here on Via. She can keep it clean. Opting for a different line there, going around that big bomb hole that unstuck Jenna. Now this is where she's got to keep pushing, because Via was extremely quick here. This is going to be so tight at the finish. Clean through there. Carrying good speed, going straight over the stump there, the straightest line there.
She was 2.3 at the last split as the clock continues to tick, rounding that final left-hand
Anna
corner.
Newkirk, she's
What
going to
will
be the
it be?
fastest time here.
Anna Newkirk through the line, 3.1 seconds ahead of Via Verbeek. We got a new leader.
That we do. Incredible run for her, qualifying in 5th.
Thank you.
Straight into the hot seat here with a 3:10.9.
Well, good job to Via Verbeek there, securing a 5th place at minimum.
Oh, sorry.
Securing a 6th place at minimum, I suppose.
No, you're right.
Yeah, 5th place.
Four to drop.
So Seal van der Velden on course out of Belgium. Your 4th place qualifier.
Little late there on that turn, and you could see she had to break up for that left-hander. So, not the cleanest through the top of this course so far. but an awesome seeding from her in 4th place. This is the first year elite for the Belgian rider. This is the first time we're seeing her at a Crankworx event. So opting for that wide line onto the boardwalk section. Hard on the pedals here. The young Belgian rider. Oh, she's back, 1.7 back.
So you see left side of your screen right here, in this section, she's the 2nd fastest rider through here, so she's within reach. But she's gonna have to make up 1.8 through the rest of this run. Seal van der Velden.
So this is doable. Only 1.7 back. This can be done, Cam. But she has to be clinically clean here.
Where's she going to sit here at intermediate 3 split?
Very nicely done there through the gravel section. That is not where you want to have a crash and ruin your whole run. Drifting back, but not much. She only lost a tenth there, 1.8 back. And Newkirk was incredibly quick in this last sector. This is going to be a tall order to pull back. Can she do it? Goes for the inside line there. That could be a few tenths right there. So this is a great showing for the first time at a World Crankworx event. The first year elite. Seal van der Velden. She is pushing as hard as she can into the finish area here in Innsbruck. Only one left-hander to navigate off the drop.
She's on rails.
Can she pull any time back? No, she slots into 2nd. Let's confirm that as I thought. Yeah, 2nd place. That is a great run for the youngster.
C'est la merde. Mais c'est devant. Ça dépend ton run. J'ai fait 2 frères. Et moi aussi. C'est difficile pour ne pas faire des fautes, je pense.
So Phoebe Gale on course out of Great Britain with just our 3rd rider left to drop.
Very nicely through there, carrying good speed. This is the other junior in the field, coming off a 1st place at Leogang World Cup in the junior category.
Come on, yeah!
Riding for Canyon FMD Racing. Phoebe Gale has been on a tear. She also won this race in the junior category last year, but clearly opting for a little bit more competition this year.
Well, qualifying 3rd position. She's definitely up for the challenge. Will she have what it takes to knock Anna Newkirk out of the hot
Oh
seat
no,
right now?
so something must be up. She's
back.
4 back. Cam, something must have happened to be that far back. I expected a lot out of her. Been checking out her Instagram. She can do manual landers on dirt chucks. So clearly hang out with Caius and Cade is rubbing off on her. So a lot of skill and talent on a bike.
Anna Newkirk looking on. She's got to be feeling pretty good about her run right now with only 2 more bullets to dodge here. 2 racers left in our pro women field. It's going to be Valley Hall, Tracy Hanna, but right now Phoebe Gale, 3.7 back, pulling it in a little bit.
Yeah, so maybe something happening that we didn't see. Maybe a crash because her pace is clearly quick by pulling over a 2nd back. Can she pull a little bit more back and slot potentially into 2nd place? Salvage something from this run. Phoebe Gale out of Great Britain, coming off an incredible result at Leogang World Cup in the junior category. This is the elite category. Phoebe Gale, can she pull some time back? Can she sneak into 2nd position here in Innsbruck? The time is clicking by. It's not going to be enough.
Phoebe Gale moving into 4th place with 2 racers left to go.
Hit a tree.
She hit a tree. There it is. That explains it.
I mean, you are flying. Fuck.
Valley Hall, Andrew. Here we go. Next racer to go.
Look at the pedigree already. And she's on track. 2 World Cup overall titles in the junior category. 1 in the elite category already. Going for the 3-peat here in Austria. Did she play it safe in qualifying? Did she show her cards or not? Tracy Hanna was 4 seconds ahead of Valley Hall. I have a sneaky suspicion Valley has a lot more in the tank here in Austria.
It is going to be good to see what this first split has to say.
Carrying big pace through the roots and the rocks.
We've typically seen our racers at about 140 when they come through that camera angle. I think it's going to be big.
Being able to speed tuck. That shows you how much speed. She's 5.5 up. This is a huge run so far.
Oh, Valley Hall on point. She wants to make it 3 years in a row. She's on pace to do so, but no room for mistakes as Tracy Hanna still has a chance to answer.
Anna Newkirk has secured herself a medal. What color will it be? The inside line from Valley. Wow! That is some home field advantage there with those sneaky lines.
Smart through that right-hander too.
So smart. Valley Hall is really coming into her own as a racer. Yes, she's had some crashes in race runs. Touch wood, I don't commentate as cursor. She is up 7.5, pulling a further 2 seconds back. She was so good through the boardwalk section, Cam. Pumping when she needed to, tucking when she needed to. Oh, it was flawless. She's carrying more pace than the other ladies. It's clear to see. When you're able to tuck, that just means you've really nailed some of these sections. Valley Hall looking for the three-peat here in Innsbruck, Austria. Wow, look at the gap. She's on a tear here, Cam.
Valley Hall, the winner here for the last 2 years now with 10 seconds to play with and the finish line in sight.
She's gonna smash the time. Valley Hall into the hot seat, 8.6 ahead.
Wow.
3:02, and that is ahead of Tracy and his qualifying time, but only by about a second. That is quite telling because Tracy normally can go faster in a race run versus a seeding.
I think we got a race on our hands here.
We have a huge race on our hands. So Valley Hall, what a great run from her. She's been having some issues this season, still crashing in those race runs. So this is great for her to have a clean race run.
I mean, from what we could see, that was a flawless race run. The clock would also suggest that as we see our #1 qualifier in the gate for the women's pro category. You know her, Tracy Hanna. What a decorated athlete.
Wow, lifetime podiums 19. She first stepped into the victory circle back in 2014. A little bit of redemption could happen today. This is exactly
this is going to be
race
so good.
That took her out last year after retiring from World Cup racing.
Tracy Hanna on course.
So your fastest qualified, Tracy Hanna, one of Crankworx' favorite riders, a former queen of Crankworx as well, carrying good speed there. Wow, inside line there. Awesome footage. You can hear the drone falling down. That is where she came unstuck last year, so she's cleanly through there.
Come on, Tracy.
So the swatch timing, what will it tell us? Also carrying good speed, hitting that bump on the exit of the turn a little bit. So these are dry conditions. The Australian is so good in the hot dry. Wow, she's back. She's 2.3 seconds back on Valley Hall's top sector. That is going to be a tall order to bring back, but if anyone can do it, it is Tracy Hanna.
Tracy Hanna, 2.3 seconds behind Valley Hall at the last split.
So that might be a little bit slower than her seeding run. Is the pressure getting to her, or did she just have an incredibly flawless seeding run? Tracy Hanna tucking on the gravel sector. Anxiously looking on. Valley Hall, can she three-peat here? So losing no more time, she's still 2.3 back. Valley Hall was so good on this last sector. Hard on the pedals for Tracy. She needs to give it her all.
Quite an accomplishment to pull back a 2.3 second right now, but Tracy Hanna is going to give it all she has this final section.
So the very place that took her out and where she tore her ACL, Tracy Hanna coming into the finish area here. It is not going to be enough.
Tracy Hanna, second place on the day, 1.4 seconds behind Valley Hall, who makes it 3 wins in a row here in Innsbruck.
So great ride by Tracy, doing pretty much a similar time to her seeding run. Valley Hall clearly playing a little bit of defense there in her seeding. keeping some of the cards close to her chest. Vali Hall, she does the unthinkable. 3 in a row here in Innsbruck, Austria.
It's fitting.
A good ride. It's fast.
Yeah, I think that's incredible by Tracy. She has been off her bike a lot. Only 2 races in the last year. But Vali Hall, absolutely clinically perfect here on the slopes of Innsbruck, Austria.
The Austrian native on home turf with some creative line choices that we got to see on camera, and just the professional poise of a world-class athlete, a junior world champion, and then an elite world champion, and a three-peat here in Innsbruck for Vali Hall.
Attacking all the way to the finish, clearly fit as well, incredible stuff.
So Vali, impressive ride out there for you. Congratulations on the win. Did you just crank it up an extra notch compared to your seeding run? Because you blew your seeding run out of the water.
Thanks. No, it was a weird day. I actually thought I would not race today because I didn't feel mentally ready. Like, I don't know, I was so down the whole week. But I'm happy that I did it and that I faced the challenge and I just tried to give my best. And I'm just stoked that I finished the run without crashing since a while. So, yeah, happy. Thank you.
Vali, it's Andrew here in the commentary booth. But talk to me about that. I didn't want to bring it up too much, but you did. How has it been dealing with, you know, crashing once or twice in your race runs, considering you've been so fast in seeding, etc.?
Yeah, I don't know what the problem is. I mean, it's really hard because I made myself down a lot and I don't really see the good things after every race week, and especially after Leogang, where I put so much pressure on myself and I knew everybody tells me I have the speed, I have the skills, but it's just me who like mess it up all the time. It's just really hard to be happy with myself. And today I talked to my coach and she was like, yeah, you don't need to, you can just take the day off and go home. But then I thought, well, I need to kind of start and face the challenges in my life and not just run away from it. And I'm happy I went to the start today and I just tried my best and yeah, finished and won a race. So that's amazing, and it definitely boosts my self-confidence a bit.
Well, you sure didn't mess it up today. Use this performance as a confidence boost. Enjoy the celebrations, and congratulations, Vali.
Thank you.
Well, what a performance out there from Vali Hall. Great to see, and some insight into what's been going on in her psyche the last few races. This is definitely going to help out as she puts 1.4 seconds on the closest competition, Tracy Hanna. Anna Newkirk sweeping up a bronze medal today.
Yeah, lovely finish for her. Like we said, there are going to be some names you maybe haven't heard of before, but now you have. I think it's awesome that she's honest about some of the challenge, because racing at the top level is so difficult. There's so much pressure, internal pressure that you put on yourself. So congrats to her. And really, I think she should just keep going and not be so hard on herself, because she has the speed and, you know, she's so young.
It's just time, you know, easier said than done not to be hard on yourself, but it's moments like this that get your head in the right place. So congratulations to Vali Hall. A whole lot more to come here in your Crankworx Innsbruck Downhill, presented by Raiffeisen Club. We're going to take a peek at our Queen of Crankworx leaderboard right now, considering we've just shaken up the point structure a little bit, with Vali grabbing 100 points on the day. That skyrockets her up to the top of that list, leading the Queen of Crankworx overall title. Caroline Buchanan just 10 points back. Jordy Scott sitting in third. Via Verbeek hanging out in the hot seat for a little while at the start of our broadcast. Cleans up some points, enough to stay in 5th place moving forward. So men's category coming up, Andrew Neethling, and we got some names on here who were familiar faces that we're going to expect to do well, but we also have some names on there who are hopefully able to seize the opportunity racing against some of these top World Cup downhill racers, an opportunity to really compare times with some of the best in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real opportunity, because if some of them can get a result here, this is the confidence they may need to actually see themselves perform right there with a World Cup rider, and then that can help them for the rest of the season. We've seen it before in Crankworx, and we might see it here again today.
Talk about a guy like Andreas Kolb, who's really rising up the ranks in the World Cup circuit, and we've seen him do well here early on in the week here at Crankworx Innsbruck.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a great talent and he's a great guy as well. And he's riding with a lot less expectations because he's coming back from an elbow injury and landed on the podium in Leogang unexpectedly. So I've really, you know, I want to see him do well, and I think he could do very well here, especially after the result last week.
Top qualifier out here, who do we got?
Well, Finn Isles, I mean, he's the clear-cut favorite, and he smashed them in qualifying by over 4 seconds, and he is quietly confident, even though he's also been sitting out with a concussion. So he's healthy again. He rode Leogang. He got 6th, but his speed is there and has been there for a long time.
Well, it's fun to see all the faces again out here. Some of the pro race teams pulling into Innsbruck. One of them that always turns heads is the Pivot Factory Racing team with their van. They've got that thing really decked out, all the Liat gear, even a washing machine to clean it up. Take a look at how the Pivot team is rolling here at Crankworx Innsbruck 2022.
What's this? Hi, how are you?
Hi, my name's Kerr. Welcome to the Pivot Factory Racing team bus all the way from America. We are stoked to announce our new partnership with Liat, and we're going to show you some of our favourite products, how we use them, where they are at the races, and how we wash them. Since this is actually where we store all our full faces, Eddie's goggle bags up here, full faces, chest protectors. Mine is the Liat full face. I wear a size small. Something I really like about it is the peak actually just breaks off, which is really cool, and you can just put it straight back on. And the mount for your helmet cam is super far back, but still on the peak, so you don't have all the weight at the front and weighing you down. You've got a helmet that feels so safe. It's the same shell as their moto helmet, with a few more vents and mountain biking to keep you cool up there, with the steeziest looking mirrored lens. And we really care about our team being safe, being comfy, and looking the part while you're out there.
This year we've got custom one-off kits for our Pivot Factory Racing team, so keeping them clean is a high priority when you're wearing fresh kits like this, nice and breathable. So we just chuck it in here. We do actually wash cycles, dry cycles, bicycles.
You just got to turn it on first.
This has got high power. That's not common, not eco either. Countdown.
Oh, we're on. We're on. How have you messed up your first wash?
I'm not an expert at this, but I don't think that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, they're so thin and such lightweight, breathable material that they literally get trapped in the door.
This is how the moisture escapes from your body while sweating. Just evaporates.
Liat and the Pivot team doing it right out there in the pits. Those guys have more fun than anybody, I have a feeling. Well, speaking of guys, we got the men's category coming up at the Deuter Downhill Innsbruck, presented by Raiffeisen Club. We're going to take a look at our start list here. Look at that. Sick Mick dropping second.
Sick Mick is back, retired from World Cup racing, but just coming out here after an e-bike EWS. But Gaten V, very exciting rider, often one of the fastest in practice. Fellow teammate Dean Lucas will be dropping. Ronan Dunn, the likes of, you know, Finals, yes, he's coming later, but look there, we've also got Sam Blankenstop. We haven't seen him racing as much of late. Dakota Norton, there's some big names here today.
It's going to be great to see this list of riders right here. Dakota Norton making it all the way out from the United States. And then your number 1 qualifier there, the man to beat fastest down the course in seeding, Finn Isles. That'll be fun to see. Just in the same way as we built up intensity in our women's category, I have a feeling we're going to have a similar show on our hands here. But yeah, racers from all over the world. Our current leader right now, no stranger to the Crankworx World Tour. We're watching his run, George Brannigan in the hot seat.
Yeah, speaking from riders from around the world, the New Zealander in the hot seat. Now, George had to miss all of practice and seeding yesterday. That's why we're not going to see him in the broadcast. Didn't put down a seeding time. He's been very ill, so has had way less practice, not feeling himself. So this is a solid run for George, deciding to come and race even though he's got less practice than the others.
Without knowing where he would have slotted into seating, we have no idea how long he may be sitting in that hot seat. He's looking pretty comfortable though.
Yeah, very good. The time would have slotted him into 3rd position, but you know what you just mentioned is not knowing his seeding time. So for him to know how hard to push or not was one of the bigger challenges, not to mention he's had less track time.
So I'm sure he just went for a consistent run there, but like you say, seeding, his final run would have slotted him into 3rd place in the seeding. So definitely one of the top dogs out here today. But the second rider we're going to see drop, Mick Hanna, he's one of our favorites, without a doubt. The guy's been around forever. Let's see, his first Crankworx downhill podium took place in 2012, and I recognize some faces there. One of them is you, Andrew Needling, wearing the blue. We got Mark Wallace there, Mark Beaumont, and we love him, Stevie Smith, the late great. Look at that. Congrats. I mean, 10 years late, but congrats, Andrew.
Well, thank you very much. But I've got a sneaky feeling you've stood on a podium with Mick Hanna, haven't you?
Never thought that would happen.
Well, there it is.
Hey, local enduro race. Not only did I get to share a podium with one of the best to ever do it, Mick Hanna, I had a blast just hanging out with him for the week. We've known each other for so incredibly long, close to 2 decades, but we never had a chance to, do 11 races together over the span of a weekend of camping with friends. It was a blast. He was actually my 22nd man right behind me. I kept saying, can we put a Ghost Rider in or what? But we had a great time riding, and it was an honor to hang out with Sick Mick for a weekend. Look at this. We're back to racing here. Top of the course. First rider to drop, Gaetan Vige. George Brannigan currently sitting in the hot seat. Does Gaetan out of France have what it takes?
So one of my favorite riders to watch in practice at Leogang. He was ripping up the track, and as you can see, pushing so hard. Not raced at Innsbruck before, so we don't know what sort of pace he can maybe get out of himself here. An incredible junior career. Hasn't quite found his feet probably as much as he would have liked in the pro ranks, but Gaetan Vige, really incredible rider, always exciting to watch. You know you're going to see some action.
Look at that.
Only 0.7 back on the likes of George Brannigan, who set a blistering time here today.
Now 0.7, this is manageable here. In the women's category, we are seeing some down splits in the 1 to 2 second range. Within reachable distance here to George Brannigan. This is going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, and considering George has been ill this week, how much energy does he have? Can Gaetan Vige pull back any of that time? He's got to be feeling better than George, who was in bed all day yesterday. The Frenchman, wow, no, he's lost more time. But George Brannigan, beware the injured or ill rider, has put in a great run here. Gaetan Vige drifting back further. Lactic acid will be building in those legs and even those arms. Just got to keep the power down here to the finish. Not much track left. Sneaking that inside line that unstuck Nina Hoffman that we saw earlier in the broadcast. Blowing out the tape. Gaetan Vige, what will the time tell us here in Innsbruck?
Gaetan Vige within reach earlier up in the run, losing time toward the bottom. Good enough for 4th place.
So Gaetan Vige, the exciting Frenchman, putting down a solid run there.
And you?
A look back at some beautiful slow motion images from this run.
Oh, look at that suspension working. Eyes on the exit of that turn, straight on the pedals as well.
Long time ago, because I didn't do seating yesterday. Yeah, there he is. The man himself. Yeah, do you think it's much different than seating yesterday?
You would know. Sure, yeah, but
Yeah.
I won't say different.
Yeah, just rough.
I think the track rolls faster also.
Rolls faster.
So, yeah, man. Congrats, bro.
Pretty relevant questions there. Brannigan asking, he's basically trying to get a gauge on how long he may be sitting there. You never know, though, when a guy like Mick Hanna is dropping in, riding the enduro bike.
Yeah, 38 years of age, Mick Hanna. I was chatting to him. I said, I thought you retired. He said, I tried to. But he got a very good offer to go ride and develop e-bikes, which he says is so hard. They're doing something like 11 or 13 stages some days on those bikes. So Mick Hanna, never one to pass up a racing opportunity, a racer at heart, born and bred to go as quick as possible.
Yeah, this will be cool to see. He's looking real aggressive, just classic trademark Mick Hanna style. 1.1 up at
And
the
he's
first split.
up on George Brannigan
Oh, he's
to
on
put in
fire.
a storming time on the enduro bike. He said there's only 1 or 2 sections that he probably is a bit, worried that he doesn't have a downhill bike. This is the bike that he has. that he's been doing sort of some EWS training on when he's not on his e-bike. But 1.7 up, that is a good margin.
Some of these sections that we see on this course, he's going to have an advantage carrying speed on this bike.
Couldn't agree more, Cam. Great point. And I was also going to say, this is a really good track for Mick. He's always been incredible in a straight line.
Extending the lead.
Yeah, up to 1.6 now. Mick Hanna, he's incredible at carrying straight line speed.
In our course preview, we heard Finn Isles actually mention this boardwalk section and how it could impact the overall results.
Yeah, so this could be also good for the bike. You know, the turns are quite flat. If you have to put in some pedal strokes out of flat turns, you probably want to be on an enduro bike, a lighter bike. So Mick Hanna on a storming run on an enduro bike. Never retired, old Mick Hanna. Coming into the finish line. He's going to take the hot seat.
Mick Hanna into the lead by 2.1 seconds. What a ride.
Yeah, it makes sense. He's had a long week at the EWS. I think he's now finally caught his breath.
How was that?
Got a bit of practice in, got a few runs. He was also probably doing less practice than some of the downhillers. Storming run from Mick Hanna.
Likewise.
Good job, George.
Oh, way to go, Mick Hanna. When we saw him up there in the Stargate, and I saw him on that enduro bike, I thought, well, this could be interesting. He's one of the most aggressive riders to ever do it, and if anybody can manhandle a smaller bike through these rough sections, this is the candidate to do it. Back up to the top now, though. This is the guy we saw in that throwback podium photo of you guys. Mark Wallace, been doing it for a long time, long enough to know how to set up his suspension. We just got a little insight into his personal preferences, the PSI, the rebound, the compression clicks. Mark Wallace out of Canada, on course, looking to try to better that time, held by Mick Hanna.
Yeah, on the Blackrock suspension from Rockchick, that is often when they prototype some of next year's stuff, as well as stuff that might never see production. So Mark Wallace, one of our favorite Canadian riders, always see him at these Crankworx events, especially obviously the one in Whistler, mentored by the late Stevie Schmidt that we also saw on that podium. And he's 1.9, almost 2 seconds back to Mick Hanna. Mick Hanna has put in a storming run here. He might be in that hot seat for a while. I hope he's got a drink. Might need some sunscreen. He's going to be there so long.
New line there.
Yeah, same as
Mark.
Valley. Deciding to cut the inside there on that left turn. That is the shortest path. Done correctly, that'll freaking definitely give you some time. No, he's lost more time. Mick Hanna absolutely demolishing this track so far. Mark Wallace coming off a great result at Leogang in 10th position there at the World Cup. Often excels in the wet, slippery, rooty conditions. This is the polar opposite, but I do think this dirt is very similar to Whistler when it's dry.
Mark Wallace is a guy we will likely see on the rest of the World Tour stops. 3 yet to come in the 2022 season. Where will he sit in our leaderboard? Through the line, 3.2 back, good enough for third. So the time of 2:42.7 from Mick Hanna is safe at the moment.
Well done.
I mean, that time there would have put him second in qualifying by over a second. So Mick Hanna is definitely securing him quite the result here today. And he's going to annoy a lot of these full-time downhillers on downhill bikes, that's for sure.
See you soon.
I mean, they can take comfort in the fact that at least it is Mick Hanna who's putting it to them on a little bike. Out of America, Chris Grice about to take to this course and see what he has what it takes to dethrone Mick Hanna.
So the first-year elite. Third place in Winterberg IXS earlier in the year. One of his standout results as an elite. Wow, inside there. Good line by him. Getting mentored by Loic Bruni and Finn Isles. I mean, what better people could you ask for? The American rider here. Oh, losing a bit of momentum there. Absolutely going to be slower than Mick after seeing that. Yeah, he's 3.5 back. Lost quite a lot of time to Mick there in that middle portion of the track. So I guess you can take the downhiller out of the downhill category, but you can't take the downhill out of Mick Hanna, man.
You take the boy out of downhill, but you can't take the downhill out of boy. Mick Hanna, you know what? He's never not going to be a downhiller. I'm retired. And then a couple months later, hey guys, I'm sitting in the hot seat.
Yeah, and he said it's not even part of his contract. You know, he's doing the EWS on the e-bikes, but
loves it.
You know, Tracy's right here. She's doing her first race again. I don't think he could avoid it if he tried.
It's what he does.
So Chris Grice, don't feel too bad. That is Mick Hanna that has put more time into you here. The veteran of our sport, 38 years old. Only really one guy that's older than Mick still competing on the downhill circuit, none other than the GOAT, Craig Minot. Oh, losing a foot there. That is going to lose him even more time here in Innsbruck.
So we're excited to see what the future holds for this young rider, Chris Grice, on the development program. There, 6 seconds back today, but we'll look forward to seeing him in the future. Mick Hanna, nothing left to do today but sit back and enjoy the show. What a great festival weekend it's been here, Crankworx Innsbruck. Mick Hanna did his job today. Time for the rest of the field to do theirs. And speaking of young talent, we just saw Chris Grice cross the line. Now we have another youngster out of Canada, Jacob Jewett. You see his boxer settings there, 120 PSI, 7 on the rebound, 7 on high speed compression, 2 on low. Great to see Jacob Jewett back healthy and competing here again at Crankworx, isn't it?
Yeah, a little late on that turn there. Will it cost him any time? But he's had some injuries to deal with, but it's, going deep there. Love that line. Choosing to jump right over that route that some people hit with their back tire. But Jacob Jewett, the first-year elite on the Canyon Collective Racing team. I've been checking out his Instagram. Wow, 1.5 back. Within touch here with Mick Hanna. He is no slouch on the skis. I don't know if you've seen him in the winter when he's not on his bike.
Based out of Squamish, BC. We saw him in 2020 at the Cliff Crankworx Summer Series have a catastrophic wrist break in the middle of the dual slalom. It was quite the process getting healthy after that, but it's really great to see him looking so confident on the bike now and back on our Crankworx screen.
Yeah, I chatted to his dad. It was like such an unnecessary crash as well. Not pushing, very unlucky with it. Slammed into the face of a jump with his wrist. So Jacob Jewett, he is back to his old self here, looking good on the bike. I think he's got great technique, super stylish, both skis and bike. The Canadian youngster out of Squamish. Can he pull any time back against the veteran Mick Hanna? The clock ticking by here.
Well, it's not going to be enough for the lead. But where will he sit? Manually through the line, 2.7 back. Good enough for third place. Great to see Jacob Jewett back. What a good ride.
Awesome ride for the first year elite. That is just what he needs. Start building some results, some solid results against some of the best riders in the world.
I think what was most impressive for me out of that run was the top, how much speed he was carrying, and the unique choices of line. He was transferring up high, lining up out of those compressions that turned into step-up jumps. Really no sign of that injury still bugging him now this point in 2022, so we look forward to seeing him throughout the season. But right now, Australia's Dean Lucas on course.
27-year-old out of Bright, Australia. Third place back here in 2019, so he knows this track. He knows how to go quick on it. This track suits the Australian style. Powerful, carries very good speed. Definitely does not avoid any backsides out there. He is all about it. Carrying good pace there into the rough, rocky and rooty section. Hard on the pedals. What will the split tell us? Is he in touch with Mick Hanna? Yes, he is.
Boy.
He's 0.2 up. He is ahead. Look at him. flying out of that section onto the boardwalk. This is a man that can also carry great pace.
This is
timing those
good.
boardwalks to perfection here.
About a quarter second ahead of Mick Hanna.
Dean Lucas, no stranger to a Crankworx podium or a World Cup podium. Missed an entire year in 2020, has actually battled to get back to his old self in the Forb. Can this be the result that kicks on his season? Oh, and he's lost a 10th, but still up. This is so close. He's 0.1 ahead of Mick Hanna.
It'll be interesting to see in this section what difference the bike makes.
Yeah, great point there. Dean is fit. He is strong, but Mick Hanna was on the enduro bike. Can that pay off here for Mick? Clean through there. Oh, he probably could have got 2 more pedal strokes in there. Will that be the difference? Dean Lucas charging hard here in Innsbruck, Austria.
It's going to be tight here. Dean Lucas goes down.
Down in the last corner. Wow.
Oh,
and he can't get back. That is
no way.
So gut-wrenching. How frustrating. Pushing so hard in that last turn. It is drying out. It is loose out here in Innsbruck. He was going to challenge the time of Mick Hanna.
That reminded me of like Sam Hill Valdesol 07 within sightline of the finish and on pace to take the lead. We're going to get another angle of this.
So we've seen it often in downhill racing. Oh, he's actually pushed the front a little bit first. Did he hit a little rock? Did he hit a pebble?
It looked like a compression that unweighted him, taking the weight off the front tire. A little...
Oh, yeah.
Or did he catch pedal?
That is so unlucky within sight of the finish on a heater there, Dean Lucas.
On the right,
Yes, you are on pace, but that doesn't make that feel any better when you crash within sight of the finish line.
Let's listen.
Yeah, that's such a bummer, sorry.
No, it's all good. So far,
Mick, man, what a ride. That was crazy. We were just, you know, biting our fingernails watching Dean about ready to cross the finish line. He had a little bit of time on you, and then he went down. I want to ask you what it's like racing this track on the enduro bike. You feel, where is it weighted heavier, advantages or disadvantages?
That's a good question. I've changed to enduro, so I haven't had time on the downhill bike. I feel quite comfortable on the small bike. And on this track, those sections that I certainly felt really fast on the enduro bike. It's good for pumping and efficient pedaling, but then there's some big holes developed today after the racing all weekend, and so there's some sections I had to just hang on and point the bike between the trees.
Well, Mick, it's needles, not in shot, obviously, but how much pressure do you feel now that you've technically retired from downhill racing and then you pitch up to a downhill race?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's certainly no pressure on me from the outside, but I'm still a racer. I'll always be a racer, and I want to do well. So I'm enjoying seeing all my friends here and getting to race at that intensity again with these guys. And it's nice to be able to just even be close to the speed, and I'm just having a great time.
Walk us through your run top to bottom. What sections of the course were you feeling like the bike was beneficial? And, well, we're going to see the run right now.
Yeah, so these first few turns, it's like quite nice on the little bike to pump and generate speed. And then you hear this route section we're coming into now. That's one of the sections that's really tough to hang on to the small bike, but then exiting that. Then we're in the bottom section here. It flattens out quite a bit, and I can get some good efficient pumps. I can like absorb those impacts, and then you can see sprinting to the finish. It's quite efficient. So.
Well, same, but different. You may be on a different type of bike right now, but we've seen you in the hot seat many times before. It's good to see it happening right now. Congratulations on a good run. We're going to see where you end up at the end of the day. See you later, Mick. Good job.
Thanks very much.
So next rider up in the gate, Ani Rainio, taking to the course from Finland. Ronan Dunn, he had an interesting time last night.
He did indeed. So Ronan Dunn, you know, they've been saying that doing yoga before a downhill race or the night before could, you know, help loosen you up. I'm not sure, because I had a little bit of a look at his scrub-off crash. Now pay attention. There's a headstand you can do in yoga. I don't think it's meant to be done like that there on the right of your screen. So full commitment there from Ronan Dunn in the scrub-off. I hope he's feeling all right today. Looks like it. He's carrying pretty decent pace here in the downhill race.
We know he's flexible. Doctors checked him out last night and said, yeah, you're good. Go race downhill tomorrow. Ronan Dunn. Does he have what it takes to knock Mick Hanna out of that hot seat? That 242.7 still standing strong.
So not raced too much at the Crankworx events. We've seen him twice before. Oh, and he's within touch. He's 1.5 back after that crash yesterday. I think you can be proud of that. Good first 2/3 of this track here against the veteran Mick Hanna. Ronan Dunn, the Irish youngster, putting in a good run here. And that Continental nuke-proof machine. Conditions probably a lot drier than his home country of Ireland. Ronan Dunn coming into the finish area here. Can he slot himself into a podium position?
Ronan Dunn close, but no scar. 1.3 back. Good enough for second place. So the time of 242.7 from Mick Hanna stands strong. Take a look back at this run.
Ronan Dunn. Look at him set up nice and close to this tree here so he can open the right-hander, carry maximum speed onto the long boardwalk section.
So Mick Hanna at the top of our full leaderboard at the moment with 10 racers left to go in our Deuter Downhill Innsbruck presented by Raiffeisen Club. This is how it looks so far, Andrew.
So Mick Hanna at the top of our standings. No real surprise there, even though he's on enduro bike. Ronan Dunn slots himself into second. Third for George Brannigan, who missed all of practice yesterday and seeding. Jacob Hewitt in fourth, and Mark Wallace rounding out the top 5 right now, and there are 10 to go.
So 10 left to go. You've been crunching the numbers, comparing qualifying times, seeding times with what we've been seeing so far in the finals. Where's Mick's time stacking up to Finn's fastest seeding time?
Yeah, well, looking at the time, he hasn't touched Finn's time, but that's unfortunately just how fast Finn was going. But that would have slotted him into second place. I think someone like Finn, with how good he was yesterday, it might be hard to go more than a second or two faster. I could be wrong. But some of these other guys, you know, Charlie Hatton, great rider at Leogang as well, coming off an 8th. 243, I mean, if he has an absolute stormer, he can maybe get as close to Finn as what we think we need.
What would you say the conditions compared right now to seeding? A little bit rougher out there?
Yeah, fair questions. We heard them speak about it. It will get rougher. We've had more riders on track. There's been a big field here. So some of the holes will get bigger, and that saps your energy. So you could argue that it's running slower on that side, but then you also heard them that some of the other places are running quicker. So it's, you know, it's a bit of a toss-up.
So we've said we have 10 riders left to go. Let's take a look at who those riders are.
So dropping in first will be Noel Niederberger. Kai Ahern, he'll drop next. Let's go down that list. Dakota Norton. This could really play into his favor, these conditions. Andreas Kolb, he'll be riding with confidence. Now, Sam Blankenstop is a former World Cup winner. He's a former king of Crankworx. He's looking to get back to his old self, and he qualified great in 3rd position. And then Charlie Hatton, he will be dropping in second last. That's great for him, because when you drop in last, it's a real big amount of pressure. Finn Isles, can he handle that pressure?
A lot of anticipation for Finn Isles' run. He will be the last man down the hill. You actually took a run up the hill with Finn Isles. Let's take a look at what you guys had to talk about.
There's actually quite a history for me that makes Crankworx special. It started all the way back when I was 14. Now that there's so many different stops, I'm able to go compete in Crankworx sort of all over the world. I really like Innsbruck because it kind of reminds me of home. We're up in the mountains, it's really beautiful, the tracks are fun. The event itself is unique. There's so many different types of bike athletes here. Slopestyle athletes, pump tracks, dual slalom, as well as downhill athletes. There's a lot of people that aren't even here to compete, but they come because it's a bike festival. That's quite refreshing, as well as like a lot of fun.
I gotta get going.
Yo,
Andrew.
let's crack it.
I'm just heading up for practice. You wanna ride?
Yeah, let's have a catch up, man.
Do it.
I was going to ask about the vibe of a Crankworx event. You described it a bit, but is that what sort of brings you back and keeps you doing them, maybe alongside the World Cups?
Yeah, absolutely. I found that like the last few years, the more I race, the better I do. I think that having Crankworx alongside the World Cups is really beneficial to me in my own riding. I really like these events. I seem to do well here because it's more relaxed and fun and less like, you know, serious all the time. So I find that that really suits who I am, and I enjoy racing them.
Nice, man. Well, have a good run.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah.
I see no reason not to come back every year. Like, I get to go race, but then I also get to have a lot of fun. So it's like the best of all the worlds.
I enjoy hearing what a rider like Finn enjoys about the Crankworx World Tour, what keeps him coming back year after year. It's the festival atmosphere. Some events are serious. This one's obviously serious when it comes to the results and everything, but the atmosphere is lighthearted, it's fun, everybody's joking around with each other, and it's good to get a chance to hang out. This kid grew up in Whistler, BC, where Crankworx Festival started, so it seems like he's got some nostalgia, and it feels like home no matter where we may be in the world. This is going to be a significant year when we go back to Whistler. Next stop, it's going to mark the 10-year anniversary of Red Bull Joyride. So that's something to celebrate. Let's take a look back at some highlights from 10 years of Red Bull Joyride. Emil Johansson, we saw him rocket ship back to the podium last event after trying so hard to battle illness and get back on tour.
A double truck driver to downside tail whip into a 450 step through.
It is official. Emil Johansson has won Red Bull Joyride 2019.
It's been really rough, 10 months off my bike before coming here, and then I feel stronger than I ever been, so yeah, I'm super stoked.
His last chance to secure the Triple Crown of Crankworx. Backflip bar spin in, another improvement, double tail whip.
He gets it!
Perfect.
Stomping his run, Nikolai Ragakin goes into the lead and wins the competition and the Triple Crown of Stroke Style.
I honestly can't believe it. I just want to thank all my boys here for just believing in me, and it's probably the best moment of my life right now.
Readers on course. Wow, truck driver off that tiny little drop. He has every weapon in the arsenal. Opposite fast plant 360 drop. Whoa! Backflip bar spin to opposite heel whip. A backflip tail up on the cannon. Wow, this is a heck of a run, Pat. And the backflip one foot can down. Full pull for Brett Reeder.
2016 Joyride champion, Brett Reeder.
This has been a tough one over the years. Not like the other contests, you know, it's steep and there's lots of features and lots of crowd and pressure and yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel amazing.
Here he comes from Squamish. Let's hear it for the local boys, Brandon Semenuk.
Brandon Semenuk starting out opposite truck driver on the start drop. 360 downside whip off the up box.
So over to the snail farm. One more to go for Brandon Semenuk. Can we hear you people?
Coming in so fast, bar spin in. Cork 720 down, can he get it? He lands it!
I don't think you can ever have as much experience here. I think I've done it before, but it's still hard every time. So happy. Yeah.
And there's Tomas Janot, 18 years old. And if you don't know about this guy, you will very shortly know about this guy.
Oh, did you see how he snapped that front flip? That kid is so comfortable with them. Floating up as if he's going into Superman. Double tail whip over the hip.
Jump the front door. And runs across the finish. Blows out his tire. Oh my gosh, give it up for Tomas Janot. Bam!
I was just so happy to get invited at first. Yeah, it's just the best contest of the year, so the best contest, the best riders ever.
Crazy to think that Red Bull Joyride has been around for 10 years, and what a ride it has been. Just looking back blows my mind. It makes me think back even further. 2003 was the first year they held a slopestyle competition on that hill, the Boneyard slopestyle course in Whistler, and the energy that was born right then and there in 2003 spawned the Crankworx series in 2004, which has now been echoing around the world. We've taken it to Europe. We've now migrated it down to the Southern Hemisphere. We've got 2 stops in the Southern Hemisphere this year. But I really think when we look at those images from Whistler, there's something special about that place that birthed something that's still echoing around the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible to be there on site and see how many fans come out. I was getting goosebumps because I've been also lucky enough to be at all those events. And just the sheer pressure of some of those runs that they put down, just seeing Semenek, you know, he is one of the greatest ever. And then someone like Thomas Shannon, who wasn't here anymore in slopestyle, but to launch his career as a relatively unknown rider and then win something as big as Joyride, the biggest event in slopestyle.
Thomas Shannon, you know, this is the first year yesterday we didn't see him on course. And, you know, riders come, riders go. They switch focuses. Shannon focusing on Rampage now. But one thing that I also think about with the birth of the Crankworx Festival is all the young kids you see in Whistler. And it's like this crazy community that now extends around the world because of the Crankworx World Tour. But I remember meeting this young little kid, 7 years old. His name's Finn. He was the younger brother of Jack Isles, who was a great little bike rider who was doing summer gravity camps, Andrew Chandra's camps in Whistler. And now to think that that little 7-year-old is our last guy to drop today. We're so excited to see his run. And we caught up with him a little bit about just what Crankworx means to him. It obviously means a lot in terms of the decorations he has around his house, the trophies that he's been able to collect. Here's some of those iconic positions there, most notably 14 years old in the whip-off. That's when we knew he was here to stay. We caught up with Finn Isles earlier. He had this to say.
Growing up as a kid, my family, or me, my dad, and my brother would drive to Whistler every single year and watch Crankworx, and I've been going since I was like 6 years old. I could remember exactly the day and time that I met Cam McCall because he was my favorite slopestyle rider when I was a kid. So like getting to meet these people as well as to watch them ride, I definitely think it was a contributing factor to me wanting to be a professional mountain biker.
Mountain biking is just a small little world, isn't it?
Well, it's incredible, and you've played I think, big part in his career. As he said, you were one of his favorite slopestyle riders and he wanted to be a pro mountain biker. He's gone the downhill route. But I remember meeting Jackson Goldstone at one of those Whistler events, and now he's a junior world champ in downhill as well.
So crazy to see. Well, back to racing. Noel Niederberger out of Switzerland. Can he knock Mick Hanna off of that hot seat? Mick getting pretty cozy down there. What do you got to say about this, Mr. Niederberger?
Well, Niederberger can ride the wheels off any bike, including a hardtail. Opting for that inside line there. Yes, it's the shorter distance. Can he carry enough pace onto the boardwalk section? At 2:46. Wow, he is quite a bit back on Mick Hanna.
Go Mick.
3.1 back. So an exciting rider to watch. When you check out his Instagram, he kind of pokes fun at his last name. He calls himself Needs a Burger. Now, Need a Burger needs to get to the finish here a lot quicker than he's doing now. He's 3 and a bit back. Seventh place in 2019 in Innsbruck, so he has been in the top 10 here, qualifying in 10th. Oh, he's losing more time. He just does not look as aggressive and as attacking as Mick Hanna. Mick Hanna was so efficient through this section.
He needs to find some time more than he needs a burger right now. Interested to see where this is going to slot him into the results list. But Mick, I mean, the time's standing.
Yeah, Mick easily could be on the podium at the end of the day with a time like that. Taking down some incredible downhill riders in their own right. Safety through that last turn.
Noel Niederberger styling it out through the final straightaway. Back by 4.1, he slots into 6th position.
So very similar time that he did in qualifying. So it is going to be a challenge for someone like Finn Isles to go quicker than he did in qualifying if you pushed hard. How rough is the track getting? Are you able to carry as much speed as yesterday?
So Mick Hanna dodges another one with 9 racers left to go.
Wow. How's your run?
Yeah, one of the first times we've had seating at a Crankworx event, which is really unique because often you don't know how quick you need to go for the finals. You just have that one shot at it.
All right, Kai Ahern out of Australia takes to the course. Time to beat 242.7.
So the Australian riding for NS Bikes, I spent quite a bit of time with these guys at a Vienna trail brunch that we did. We spent some fun times riding grass slalom, just getting back to our roots, launching over that route there. So the talented Australian rider.
We have a dog on course, you hear that? We've got a Chihuahua cheering for Kaya Hearn.
Not just the drone pilot, making buzzing in the forest.
Zoo out there, 1.5 back.
So with In Touch, Kaya Hearn, 1.5 back of his countryman, Mick Hanna, who bases himself now in the United States with his family. The unique sound of a loud chainsaw at a European downhill event. You can hear that in the background. So Kaya Hearn, a little bit back on Mick Hanna.
The sound of cowbells and chainsaws just screams downhill, doesn't it?
It does, man. If you hear the chainsaw, you know you're at a downhill event. Floored back 0.3 of a second there. Can he keep this momentum going to the finish? It's 1.2 back for him. The Australian, the strong, fit Australian. Fans cheering him on to the finish here. He's got one rocky straight to get through. Beautiful views here in Innsbruck, Austria. One final turn. Can he sneak himself onto the podium here?
Kaya Hearn into second place. He was able to shave a bit of time off there in the final section, less than a second back, so they're getting closer.
Yeah, this time can be beat. In that last sector that Mick did you think he'd be better because of the Enduro bike? Well, Kai was able to put some time into it.
Mick says, oh boy, that was a bit close. Kaya Hearn was on a good one, but that's kind of the first time we've seen somebody able to make up some time at the bottom of the course.
Yeah, critical section here when you start losing energy and focus, not getting your braking points, you can lose a hell of a lot of time.
So the Irish racer Henry Kerr, the next to take to this Deuter Downhill Innsbruck, presented by Raiffeisen Club course.
He is number board 13, but clearly he is very superstitious, which many of us downhillers are. Oh
boy!
Losing the back wheel right near the top.
Does he have air in his back tire still?
That is going to cost him a lot of time. Unfortunate mistake in a crucial section where you want to carry speed. Maybe he has lost air pressure. Yeah.
I don't know. He might have an insert, and that's why he's able to keep going, but it shouldn't.
Yeah, I could hear on that landing he burped some air. So that's unfortunate for Henry Kerr. He's raced here a few times, just not having much luck. Well, he's only 3.9 back, considering it seems like he's got less air in his rear tire than he needs. 22-year-old Irish men here. There are quite a lot of Irish in the field today. It's awesome to see that nation producing some great downhillers. Opting for the inside line there. Done cleanly. Does he have enough air pressure in that back tire? How hard can he push?
Now we're just...
Really looks a little bit low from my vantage point.
Yeah, it's tough
losing
to tell.
more time as well.
Oh, it looked like it rolled right there under compression on the boardwalk bridge. What a difference with the additional invention of tire inserts, how much that changes the game. What do you say a rider would be running in terms of PSI on this course with inserts?
Yeah, I think anything from 28 to maybe 30 PSI in the rear. I've heard some guys telling me they're running 28. Depends on the riding style. Some like a little bit firmer sidewall, don't want to roll it in berms. So
Henry Kerr by him through the line, 4.4 back into 10th place. We're going to take a look back at where we first saw a mistake in this run where he lost some time. Try to see if we're just making things up about a flat tire here.
I mean, that he just pushed really hard into that turn, losing traction on the rear. But I did hear when he went off the drop, it sounded like he burped it.
I thought I heard that too. It could have been that Chihuahua though.
It could have been.
So, next racer up, Jackson Frew. We had him Crankworx BC road trip last year, taking the win at Sun Peaks. Let's see if he can do it again here today in Innsbruck.
Another strong young Australian rider. There was a time when the Aussies absolutely ruled downhill. They're creeping back into the winner's circle, trying to take down the French domination at the moment. So winner of a Summer Series downhill, Jackson Frew, the youngster from Australia. Actually took out Adrian Laurent in the pump track earlier in the week. So he was really happy with that result. Wow, he's 1.5 back, within touch of Mick Hanna. Mick Hanna putting in a storming run here in Innsbruck. Looking clean in that white kit from head to toe. Jackson Frew, 1.5 back. Can he claw any time back here on this fast boardwalk section? Inside line for him there, clean.
Well, look, he come unclipped a little bit, had a hard time getting back in something. He looked down at his pedal on the gravel straightaway.
Yeah, losing time there. Any hesitation will drop you back. Mick Hanna had no such thing. He was so focused. Eyes on the prize in his run. But Jackson Frew losing a little bit more time to Mick. But an awesome quali for him nonetheless, qualifying in 7th. After this, there are only 6 to go. Coming into the finish area here in Innsbruck. Hanna's time slipping by. Jackson Frew slots himself into 4th with 6 to go now.
Jackson Frew into 4th place. So the Australian-born, Colorado-based Mick Hanna still the man to beat with 6 riders left to go.
Not too bad, just a couple silly ones, but not too bad. How'd you go?
Andrew, take a look. We got a technical Rudy and Rocky section right here. Explain to me what some of the ideal line choices are here. We're seeing a couple different options taken by these different riders.
Well, see here, he's opting for this very wide line here. And what he's done there is he's able to open up the right-hander, which gives him a lot more speed for that boardwalk section.
Out of America, Austin Dooley already underway in his run. This scored the time to beat 2:42.7. Who's gonna do it? Is it going to be Austin Dooley?
The youngster out of the United States, Austin Dooley, in only his 2nd year elite racing. He's been doing quite a lot of European IXS Cups, which is great for experience. Wow, this is a great top sector, one of the fastest we've seen. 1.2 back on Mick Hanna, hard on the pedals. Aggressive from the youngster. This is what you want to see. You want to make speed. You don't want to just let it happen. You've got to make some extra speed out there. So opting for the wide line, dropping a foot, carrying decent pace there. Yes, he's fast onto the gravel bit. So 6th place quali for Austin Dooley. Can he sneak back some time against a veteran? No, he's lost 0.6 to Mick Hanna on the fast boardwalk section. He's got to let it all hang out here. He cannot afford any mistakes.
The crowd cheering for Austin Dooley. Great to have them back, lining all of these competition courses all week here in Innsbruck. The time slipping away here for Austin Dooley. It's not going to do it. Into 4th place.
5 riders to go, so secures himself a top 10 at Crankworx Innsbruck. Good ride from the youngster in only his 2nd year elite.
Well, 5 racers left to go.
You're about a 44. Low 44. You were 1.4 off and I did 42.7.
So Dakota Norton, a guy we used to see at all the Crankworx stops a few years ago. He's been climbing the ranks of World Cup downhill racing. Here he is at Crankworx Innsbruck, a guy who definitely has what it takes if he can hold it together.
The US national champ, Dakota Norton, coming off a 9th place in Leogang, deciding, hey, I'm gonna do a road trip with my girlfriend. We are gonna come to Europe, and he's self-supported here in Innsbruck. I think he owes beers to about half of the pro mechanics from other teams, borrowing tools, borrowing all sorts. And he is a racer at heart. What will the time tell us? Okay, he's 1.2, so he's within touch as well. Mick Hanna has put in a flying top half.
I mean, consistently 1 to 1.5 seconds faster than all the racers we've been seeing come through our first split.
What can the national champ do on that intense factory racing rig here on the bottom half of this course?
Oh
no,
mistake.
He's gonna lose time there. He's lost it. He is gonna lose even more time, sliding out there in a critical section before a fast straight.
What a chain reaction that one slide out causes. So much time drained into the next couple corners. 1.8 back.
There you have it. Unfortunately, you cannot get the time back in downhill. It is gone. Loses 0.6 there to Mick Hanna. Can he get aggressive here at the finish? No, another dropping a foot there. This is starting to get messy from Dakota Norton. Great to see him here, deciding to stay in Europe after the last World Cup, get some racing in, get some bike parks in, but it is grueling wrenching on your own bike.
So a mistake-ridden run from Dakota Norton, unfortunately not fast enough for the lead, but respectable time slot him into 5th position with just 4 racers left to go.
You did good. Not bad for an old man.
Yes. Congratulate Mick there. We're gonna look back at this mistake.
Yeah, just overcommitting in that turn, losing the back end, sliding, and there was a chain of events like you said. Losing time in the right and the following left.
Well, it's never a lack of commitment when we see a mistake from Dakota Norton. He is all out.
Yeah, he's really come into his own. He's 30 years of age, and like you said, we saw him previously at Crankworx events. He's the US national champion, beating out some incredible riders. Really impressed with Dakota's riding lately.
Well, next rider up, already been a good week for Andreas Kolb here in Innsbruck. He took the gold medal, the specialized dual slalom presented by Thule, to kick off our first broadcast of the 2022 Crankworx season. He is now the next rider to take to this downhill course with his sights set on that 242.7 smoking time for Mick Hanna.
The Austrian drops in Andreas Kolb. It's been quite the week and a half. Coming off his first podium in World Cup downhill, 5th in Leogang. He's on home soil again this week in Innsbruck. And he's also coming back from a broken elbow, so riding with a lot less expectations on himself. Just said he wanted to qualify last week. Just said he wanted a top 20. Well, what does he just want here? Andreas Kolb, the strong Austrian rider. Oh, he's going to have a great time here. It looks like he's in touch. No, he's up, 1.7 up. So that's the fastest top sector we've seen today. That is a good amount of time that he's put into Mick Hanna. Riding high on confidence, Andreas Kolb. Chatted to him after Leogang. He was so ecstatic. I mean, it's his best World Cup result, and he was on the podium. Just a short few weeks ago, he actually broke and shattered his elbow.
Isn't it crazy how recovering from an injury and having a decrease in pressure can sometimes just be the catalyst for a higher level of performance out of an athlete?
I couldn't have said it better myself. All time, 2.4 up.
Oh no! Okay,
Oh,
hold on, no! Somebody get this man Crankworx. He's lost the trail.
Oh, he has absolutely lost his way. Pushing so hard.
What a recovery.
Oh, he has lost so much time. Andreas Kolb was on an absolute storming run there. 2.4 up at the time. Lapse of concentration there. Coming into that section probably faster than he ever has this week.
No way. I thought this was going to be it. But issues for Andreas Kolb. Oh, there goes the 242. He is out of touch. What a crazy turn of events. with 3 riders left to go. Mick Hanna still leading the charge.
Oh, disappointment for Kolb there. He was on an absolute flyer, pushing just a little bit too hard, got knocked off his line. Luckily managed to stay on the bike and stay on the track. That would have been your hot seat run.
Wow. It just goes to show how hard these riders are pushing to try to beat that 242.7. Oh, what a save.
Yeah, he just came off that boardwalk faster than he probably has all week. Going to flat, landing in a soft bit of dirt, and it just squirted him off to the right. And then good save. We saw some pretty big crashes last year, one from Fabio Wittmer. Mick Hanna dodges another bullet, and then there were 3 to go.
He goes, I don't know, I did my run, now I'm just sitting here.
Yeah.
And this crazy stuff keeps happening. Oh, we got a fast racer up next in the gate. Sam Blankenstop, former king of Crankworx, long list of accolades in this kid's career. I call him a kid, 33.
Yeah, but he just feels like a kid. I remember it like it was yesterday when he won his first World Cup in Austria, not far away in Schladming. Now, how much sleep has Blinky had this week? Because he's in the motorhome with his wife and his 2 kids. Jumping deep there, trying to find that old form that we know from Blinky. Always exciting to see on a bike. The former king of Crankworx, Blinky. Someone can do good things down the bottom here. It is him. He's always hard on the pedals. Oh no, he's 2 back. Mick Hanna might be on for a podium here, if not better.
Things looking good here for Mick Hanna to walk home with a medal. Sam Blankenstop over 2 seconds back.
So no stranger to a Crankworx podium. Sam Blankenstop had to miss the 2020 season like some others due to the pandemic. Slowly finding his old form. This was a great qualifying result for him to build some confidence on in 3rd. Oh, losing more time. Is the course getting slower than yesterday? 3.3 back. Blinky, the New Zealander, 33 years old. Just not quite what we expect from him. He's one of the fittest riders on the planet. Looking a little sluggish compared to Mick here in this final sector. Sprinting hard to the finish, the New Zealander will slot himself. Oh! Wow, he has pulled back some incredible time. He looked a little
gotta be
sluggish.
kidding me.
I don't know. I'd like to call. Yeah, I'd like to. Mick, did you think those splits were accurate? I mean, that is a lot of time for him to pull back.
500.
So, I mean, we got to go back and take a look at this run that has been the run to beat for so long. The second rider we saw drop in our broadcast here, I believe he was the 17th qualifier, was flawless.
Yeah, he had a long week, so he came over, did some practice runs, conserving his energy, having a chilled qualifying run, got himself onto the broadcast, and thank goodness, because he has put in a flyer here in Innsbruck. The veteran Mick Hanna, currently in your hot seat with 2 to go. So secured himself a medal.
Exactly. What is, I need to look up the definition of retirement because I don't really understand. You know, here we got a guy going home with a medal who's apparently retired. Maybe I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, maybe phone Kelly Slater because he doesn't know what that word means either.
Can't stop sick Mick. Nobody has been able to so far anyways, but Charlie Hatton has an opportunity to do so right now.
This could be the man for the job. Second in seeding with a 2:43.8. How hard did he push yesterday? Coming into his own in the World Cup circuit, Charlie Hatton out of Great Bend, Britain. Continental Atherton Racing. Teammate Andreas Kolb had the fastest time till he got unstuck. In a little bit too light gear there from Charlie Hatton, but this is going to be quick.
Oh.
Yeah, he's so in touch. 0.2 back. 6th here last year. He knows the track. Coming off his best World Cup finish with 8th position in Leogang. He will be another rider, riding with a lot of confidence this week. Trying to prove himself. here on the world stage, Charlie Hatton.
So what will the story be? We just saw Sam Blankenstop moments ago make up a ton of time at the bottom of the course. So that would suggest there's time to be had there. Charlie Hatton within touch. The first split still just a half second outside the top time.
This is doable. He was clean through that section that Andreas had a big moment in. 0.5 back. How hard can he push? Can the downhill bike carry a little bit more speed through these slow, bumpy corners? We know Charlie is fit. We know he is dedicated. How hard can he push? Clean through there. This is going to be so
he's got
close,
10 seconds across the line.
The time is ticking.
Wants to beat Mick.
Charlie
Here we
Hatton
go.
to
Charlie
the finish.
Hatton, does he have what it takes? He goes through the line first by 3.1. Where did he find the time? Wow, Charlie Hatton takes the lead with one racer left to go.
And there you have it. That is faster than Finn Isles' seeding run with 1 to go.
Oh my God.
Interesting point there. I love the fact you're able to cross-reference that time with the seeding times. A look back at this smoke and run here from Hatton.
So very committed here in the end of this downhill run here.
Nailed it.
Carrying great speed out of those flat turns.
That was hard work.
We know how fit Charlie Hatton is, and we know how hard Finn Isles works. He'll be motivated, but the time has been eclipsed. Seeding time of Finn Isles has been beat here today. What does Finn have for us?
Charlie Hatton takes the lead and the hot seat with one rider left to go. The top qualifying rider out of Canada, Finn Isles.
Oh, you fucking missed the boardwalk.
Listen.
Straight up, then missed
Yeah.
the boardwalk. Have you got any water? Or just Red Bull?
You got to believe Finn Isles is up in that start gate, ready to go. The last rider with an opportunity to take away the gold medal here at the Deuter Downhill Innsbruck, presented by Raiffeisen Club, and Finn Isles is on course.
The 22-year-old Canadian national champion, coming back from a concussion. He sat out of Fort William World Cup, but he is healthy. That seeding time of a 2:39 from yesterday. Clean through there, inside lines. As you saw, I rode the gondola with him. He does seem pretty calm and confident this week. And he actually seeded on a prototype bike yesterday. I thought we were going to see it today, but it looks like he's back on his normal Specialized machine today. Whoa!
Whoa!
Now, guys, let's just beware. Those guys have been putting a lot of time into Mick at the bottom sector. We might just have a few different splits compared to what's actually happening here. So, Finn Isles looking good here. I think he's very close to Mick's time here.
Yeah, we've seen some very interesting stuff at the bottom section of the course here.
Oh, he is clean. Inside onto the gravel here. Catching his breath clean through that gravel. This is now where he can start pushing. Second in Lords earlier in the year. Third here last year. This man has quite the pedigree for such a youngster. Bursting onto the scene at the Crankworx World Tour at a tender age of 14. Riding alongside Loic Bruni as a teammate. So Finn Isles, he is coming into the finish area here. The time is ticking by. Is it going to be enough? It looks like Charlie Hatton may do this one. Let's look for the final time though. Wow, it's not going to be enough.
Finn Isles, 2.3 back, good enough for second place as Charlie Hatton takes the win.
So unofficially, look at that. Charlie Hatton eclipsing Finn Isles' seeding time and Finn Isles drifting back compared to his time. Awesome result for Charlie Hatton. Congrats.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, this was not a boring race. An eventful downhill race here in Innsbruck. 2022, Charlie Hatton saying he earned every millisecond of this win.
Yeah, incredible result. He's been building for a while now. Charlie Hatton, a big win for here, taking out the likes of Finn Isles, Mick Hanna, Andreas Kolb that came unstuck there. What an incredible result for that team. Andreas taking the win in slalom, Charlie Hatton taking the win here in downhill.
Good week for the team.
Happy enough with that.
So Charlie Hatton soaking it up there with mechanic and teammate. And we're going to take a look back at this winning run, Andrew.
So the British rider carrying great speed at the top here. The roots and rocks opting for that wide setup line to carry good speed onto the boardwalk section. Pumping nicely, carrying good speed, hopping out of the boardwalks, generating even more speed. So second qualifier, Charlie Hatton goes one better and takes the win here in Innsbruck.
Charlie Hatton, congrats on taking the win out here in downhill. What a fun race to watch. My question for you, the bottom section of the course, you seem to make up so much time. Where did you find those seconds?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I pushed hard all the way down, and I knew it's quite a flat track, still fairly long, but yeah, you just had to get on the gas at the bottom. I think the last couple of corners, I felt like I nailed them as well. Feet up, and then yeah, just pedaled hard to the line.
Charlie, congrats. You've really been building. Did the result last week help a bit with sort of relaxing you and showing that you can do something like this?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, definitely. It's always, everyone goes on about like the snowball effect. I think, yeah, as soon as you have one result and you just keep repeating on it, yeah, it's a good feeling.
Well, Charlie, keep that momentum rolling. Thanks for the amazing show. We were jumping up and down here in the booth. Great performance, and enjoy the celebrations tonight.
Sweet. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
What a race, Andrew. Let's take a look at our final results.
Well, that was incredible racing. Look at the veteran there in third position. Finn Isles couldn't quite match his seeding time. That often happens, not knowing how hard you must push. Someone like Charlie Hatton knew that he had to push as hard as humanly possible to try even get near. Great win for him. Sam Blankenstop coming back to form there. And a shout out to Kai Ahern. Great result for him in fifth.
Sam Blankenstop just 500ths off the podium there. So very tight gap in order to crack the top three. Man, oh man, that was good. Valley Hall taking the win for the women. Charlie Hatton taking the win for the men. What a week.
Yeah, I've lost my voice. What an incredible week. We had great weather. We had incredible competition. I'm blown away. Congrats to Charlie Hatton. I think it's a long time coming. He's been showing some steady results. And then Tracy Hanna, almost a Cinderella story, but nice for her to be back in the mix and to see that, you know, when she does race again, she's got that speed.
The Hanna siblings, it's like you can't stop them.
Yeah, no, you can't. They were born and bred to race. I mean, Mick Hanna's been racing BMX since he was young, and I've had a lot of retirement conversations with that man, and he said he just loves competition. He loves putting himself in this position, and you can see it.
So some points were delivered just now. Obviously, we have a bit more of a story when it comes to King and Queen at this moment than we did at the start of the week after having slalom, pump track, speed and style, slope style, and just downhill right there. So let's take a look at what our current standings are for the King of Crankworx.
And leading it out, Niels Bensick, we didn't see him in downhill, 136 points. Thomas Lemoyne from that incredible speed and style, and obviously slopestyle results. But look at Andreas Kolb, and it could have been even better for him because he was on for the win here today. Bas van Steenbergen, and then Charlie Hatton taking the full 100 points there.
We talk so much about how every point matters, but just look at the distance between first and second place right now.
Yeah, 1 point. This is great, and we've got 3 more World Tour events that we're going to be dishing out points and crowning the King and Queen of Crankworx at the end of the year.
Well, you can't win if you don't play, and we got a whole lot of games to play this season with adding another stop, 4 event stops with all these different disciplines throughout. And we're only at the end of stop 1 right now, and we've already got a developing story with a gap of just 1 point between first and second place in the King of Crankworx overall series hunt. Austria kicking things off. The next stop, we'll see you at the birthplace of it all, Crankworx Whistler, BC in August. We'll then migrate ourselves down to the southern hemisphere for 2 stops. First one of those 2 will be in Cairns, Australia, the first time we've seen ourselves there. And then we'll wrap things up, the finals, Crankworx Rotorua, New Zealand in November. So we're spanning all the way from June to November, so we have so much action coming your way for the 2022 Crankworx World Tour. I got to thank you for watching. It's been a fun time this week. I've been your host, Cam McCall. Thank you, Andrew Needling. It's been a blast hanging out here in the booth with you. And Alan Cook and Greg Watts and Nikolai Regakin, everybody who we had on camera out here today. Way to go, racers. We'll see them, and we will see you in Whistler in August.